The Mountain Manifesto. This is a call to action. Take a step towards the mountain. The time for hesitation is over. The world is burning while sham saviors whisper lies of comfort. The machine is devouring and demands more obedience, more labor, more sacrifice. But we are not powerless. We will rise. We will step off the treadmills of servitude, and we will ascend to freedom. The mountain calls, and the path is clear. Here are some short-term actions, your first steps towards liberation. Detox yourself. Break the chains of digital surveillance. Every screen is a window into your soul, a tool of control that can be wielded by corporations, algorithms, and governments. Shut them off. Reclaim your mind. Begin with deliberate disconnection. Limit your exposure. Cut ties with manipulative platforms. And demand encryption as a standard, not a luxury. Each moment spent free of the algorithm's grip strengthens your autonomy. Be conscious in your consumption. Starve the beast. Your dollars are bullets in an economic war. Stop arming your enemy. Boycott corporations that thrive on exploitation, on sweatshops, on environmental destruction, on greed. Support your local farmers markets, your worker-owned co-ops, ethical producers of all kinds. Every purchase that you make can become an act of rebellion. Choose wisely. Every coin that you withhold is a blow to the machine. Local engagement, rekindle the bonds of brotherhood. Alienation is their weapon. Community is our shield. Attend farmers markets, neighborhood events, co-op events, and cultural gatherings. Trade goods and services with your neighbors, not with faceless corporations. When we know each other's names, we stand united, and united we can be unbreakable. Here are midterm actions that you can use to strengthen the foundations of resistance. Organize locally. Form networks of mutual aid. History is clear. When the system collapses, only community endures. The people who are going to save you aren't the government, they're your neighbors. Build mutual aid groups modeled after grassroots responses to crises like the pandemic, civil wars, and others. Share food, tools, shelter. When disaster strikes, it will be your neighbor, not the state, who stands beside you. Create skill-sharing workshops and arm yourself with knowledge. Power flows to those who do not need the system. Learn survival skills like gardening, carpentry, medicine. Teach what you know and learn what you don't. Hold classes in parks and homes and libraries. Each skill passed on is another brick in the fortress of self-reliance. Reclaim democracy from the ground up. True power belongs to the people, not to corporate boards or distant politicians. Host gatherings where everyone's voices are heard. Make decisions collectively. Replace apathy with action and bureaucracy with purpose. Local governance, the smallest local governance, will light the path forward. Some long-term visions to build a future worth fighting for. Build resilient communities. These are strongholds of freedom. The future is local, or it's not a future at all. Create eco-villages, cooperative housing, intentional communities that break dependence on exploitive systems. Use models like the Transition Network to develop sustainable towns where democracy thrives, where resources are shared, and where the land is honored. Every seed planted is a declaration of independence. Reclaim democratic institutions. Tear down the corporate thrones. We cannot simply retreat. We must fight back. Flood the system with reform. Follow leaders who answer to the people, not to profit margins. Demand laws that defend workers, dismantle monopolies, and punish environmental crimes. Democracy can be reclaimed if the people seize it with both hands. Arm your minds against manipulation. Educational reform is needed. Control begins in the classroom. Critical thinking is a lost skill. Break the cycle of indoctrination. Demand education that teaches critical thinking, ecological responsibility, and cooperation, not obedience and consumption. Support critical thinking, alternative schools, and free knowledge libraries. Knowledge is the enemy of tyranny. The path forward is clear. We can have an impact. This is not a fantasy. This is a strategy. Every action is a strike against the chains that bind us. From the smallest boycott to the largest eco-villages, we build the world that we want brick by brick, seed by seed, voice by voice, decision by decision. This is the work of generations, maybe, but it begins with you now. Will you answer the call? Will you climb the mountain? The summit awaits, but the first step is yours to take, and time is running out. Rise.